Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hello there, good people. Hey there, good people. I'm so excited to have you join us for another episode of The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. I hope that you have been liking, sharing, and following us on all the social platforms at 11375 under The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship, because we've had some phenomenal entrepreneurs who have had the courage to share their courageous story with me. And I hope that you have been taking studious notes, because guess what? My next guest is going to tell you a story that is going to have you know that no matter where you are on your journey, what happens, that you can find purpose and love and also success in any space that you have entered into. So, my name is Anita Pierce, and I am the founder and CEO of 11375. Here within this space, we are ensuring that we inspire organizations to reach their full potential in a number of different ways, but mainly through our coaching and training services. We are really intentional with providing strategies to other business owners, specifically if you're interested in working in the government contracting space. But it is really our mission to be the one-stop shop for business resources, making connections, and also in this space, the podcast world, to tell the truth about what it means to really be in this space of entrepreneurship and connecting social impact. But enough about me. I am excited to welcome one of my classmates from Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business. We were in a room of very powerful, capable, and strong leaders. And I tell you, those 14 weeks took me to another level of deepening understanding about myself and also learning about my colleagues within the room. And Ron Gold is one of my faves. Don't tell the others, but he's one of my faves. But in terms of the work that he is engaging in LeanonWe. But I do not do a fair justice of telling a story. I can only introduce first name and last name and also the business that they are engaged in. So Ron Gold, please come to the stage. Hey, Ron.
I'm here. I'm looking forward to it.
You are here, and welcome to another phenomenal episode as we unpack your journey within this space. So let's jump right into it, Ron. Tell us who you are at this present moment and what do you do?
I'm an entrepreneur like you. I relish the role as an entrepreneur. And what I do is I started a company with my wife. The company is LeanonWe. And what we do is we match older families looking for home care at home with recommended and vetted caregivers from our network. So let me explain that a little bit. When you
Mhm.
think about older people who might need some help at home in order to stay safely and independently in their home, there are usually two options that they can choose. One is to use a home care agency, and the other is to find someone via word of mouth through your own network. The home care agency has the advantage that it's easy. You pick up the phone, you call them, but it's also expensive, and you'll have no choice in who comes into your home. Hiring on your own is more affordable, but there's no way to vet that caregiver, and if they can't make it, you can be stuck. And we thought, why don't we have a service that works for both sides of the market? Yes, for the person looking for care and their family, but also for the caregiver. And what we do is we match the two sides together, and we've done all the homework on the caregivers. And we shoot a video, we learn about them, we get some references, and we take a fingerprint and send it to the FBI. So now you have true peace of mind. So it's sort of a hybrid between the two options.
And that's really, I can tell you, I had the experience, and I wish I knew about your business, a few years ago where I was looking for, support for my mother-in-law at the time. And it was very difficult, to find qualified individuals that because we wanted to keep her in the home, and as adults, we still had our own lives. I guess you wanted to say, whatever it is, work or being a parent, but having additional resources available and knowing that there's properly vetted caregivers is really critical, especially for even though we're entrepreneurs, it's still something that we have to think about in terms of planning, I think. So you started this as a result of, tell us, Ron.
Yeah, my life was in a completely different direction. I had always been interested in finance. I had a job on Wall Street. I ran an equity desk for Barclays, and I had been at Lehman before that. So I had a career that I really enjoyed, and I did a lot of travel. It was a pretty intensive and all-consuming career, but I relished it. And 12 years ago, I was bicycling with a group of friends, and a drowsy driver veered right into me. The road curved, and she went straight. And she went into my buddy and into me. And that catastrophically changed my life. I was medevaced quickly to the hospital, but no one expected I'd survive. I woke several weeks later from an induced coma, only to find out I was now paralyzed.
Mm.
And I can't even begin to express what went through my mind and waking up to that kind of prognosis.
Mm.
In total, I was in the hospital for 2 months and rehab for 3 months. Then I come home to try to recreate my life, and it was really it was challenging in emotionally, physically, in every way possible. And amongst everything else, I had a host of post-accident conditions that I needed to address, and I needed home care, and I was very frustrated with my limited options, which is why my wife and I decided to start LeanonWe to give people choice, give people another way to find care.
And so thank you for sharing that. You had a near death experience and have manage and courageously transition that into helping others through what you personally have experienced. And one of the things I do want to ask personally is, how did you find a new purpose through all of that? Because when you think of something as traumatic, you usually some of us will just give up and just go, I'm just going to manage and take care of myself. So how did you find like a deeper purpose in what it is that you are doing within your business now?
I didn't think there was. It wasn't something that I consciously looked for.
Mm,
I did. I did read and followed a number of other people who had been through similar paths and similar straits. Other people who had suffered spinal cord injuries or became paralyzed, and tried to see what they held on to, and then help them uh, draw guidance as they moved on and found different ways to go. And like you said, initially it's a journey and everybody goes through it in a different way. I think over time I found certain things that gave me strength. And one of them was to think about service and a mission to help others. And it might sound hokey and foo-foo, but it's true. If you think about something that helps others and not just yourself, but not just helping others, but also giving you purpose. And I find that finding purpose is a big driver for people. And I know it it has shaped the way I've pursued LeanonWe, because I want LeanonWe to succeed, not just so I can make money and be financially comfortable, but I know that I can offer, and I am offering. We've helped over 1,500 families get better, safer, more affordable home care, and the incredible testimonials we get are a great testament to that. And helping others in what is an incredibly fraught time has has elevated me and has driven me to keep going and to keep doing more things. And and if I can just pursue that tact a little bit further, I have found, strangely, somewhat surprisingly, I have found that people like seeing what I'm doing. They like someone who hasn't given up on life, and they take to it, and that has given me more strength to keep pushing the limits the best I can.
So, for those who are watching us via video on YouTube or Facebook or on our business page, I am sharing right now Ron Ron's business page, Lean On We, where he described providing better private in-home senior care and providing, business owners and pretty much everyone additional alternatives and reasonably cost options to help you with your home care needs. And that could be critically important, specifically as we are entrepreneurs in terms of our overall planning, what that looks like, because we are, the truth is we are all aging. Um, and Ron, I just want to just ask another follow-up question to the types of services that you offer. So is it just for those who are in senior care that needs the services, just seniors?
Yes, it is. I mean, there are certain cases. It doesn't have to be senior. It could be somebody younger who, like me, is involved in an accident or become disabled. But it's for physically frail or physically disabled, as opposed to intellectually disabled, because we've found that the caregivers that we find and the caregivers on our network are really not well suited. It's a different skill set, is really what I'm saying,
Uh-huh.
for to help people with developmentally disabilities or intellectual disabilities. And we found that when our caregivers have worked with that environment, it hasn't been as good a fit. These are people who are trained as licensed home health aides, and they understand the skills needed to help people live independently and confidently at home, where the vast majority of people prefer to live as they age.
So I'm going to ask you another question because in this space, there are a lot of long-term healthcare options available. How do you navigate um, the politics and policies that come with that? Specifically in um, per state, or if it is it even applicable?
So that's a loaded question, and there's a lot to unpack there. I will say, first of all, there are a lot of options for people as they age. Our service is primarily for people who are paying for their care privately. Now, another part of this is a lot of times when people need extra help as they age, they become a bit more frail, and they're considering either moving into an assisted living or staying at home with care. And our mission is to objectively help people in both cases. So if they choose to be at home, we have the hundreds of caregivers who could be a good fit for them. But we understand for a variety of reasons, sometimes people prefer to move into an assisted living community. And that's also a big question with a lot of different threads. And we can help them there as well because we've partnered with an expert on assisted living placement. So that's another angle that people can go. Now, there are also in the state of New York, since you asked about state by state by state, people who live in New York are lucky enough to have what is probably the most robust Medicaid system for people as they age. So you can through Medicaid still get care from the state, and it's called a consumer directed program where you can choose your own caregiver. So we can also work in those situations where people are on Medicaid and still getting care through the state, and the state will pay for the bulk of that care. It's an incredible program that no other state offers. Now, each state will have different Medicaid programs, and that gets very involved and very complicated. But we can talk further if people have additional questions. But it's also important to know that Medicare, as opposed to Medicaid, Medicare does not pay for home care, except for a very limited time when you're discharged from a hospital or a rehab facility. I hope that shed some light for you.
No, that sheds a lot of light, and I know it best because I experienced that with my mother-in-law, and it was very challenging to navigate and understand. We're based out of New York, and it was just a very challenging process. But it also leads me to, one of the things that I want to talk to you about and unpack a little bit is about, overall planning, right? Because as we age, there are certain things that I believe that we can do to kind of minimize some of the not knowing, or have someone such as your organization at LeanonWe to handhold us through the process in terms of us finding support. So as an entrepreneur, right? Um, I am often encouraging those that I coach, to think about, what will happen if, you age, or you want to, sit outside the business, or whatever it is. Those are a part of long-term planning. How could someone like me, who is, aging, but want to
No,
really,
not you.
yes, we all are at some point. We all are aging, but how do we plan that to say that when we get, older, that I would want to tap into your organization? Is there some sort of what do they call it? Like uh it's like a estate planning, but that's not the word, but like a way where we need to write that in our will, or to say that this is something that, living will, that when, in case something happens, we would want to use your services in terms of planning.
Yeah. So very good question again, Anita. There's a lot to do there. I mean, first of all, as an example, people should consider buying long-term care insurance
Right. That's what it is.
when they're younger and when they're healthy. And it's something that's expensive, but it's expensive because the cost of providing long-term care is expensive. So it's something you need to do when you're healthy, because as an example, after my devastating accident, I looked to get long-term care insurance, but it was too late. I could no longer qualify. But
Mm.
my wife did go out and get long-term care insurance, which is something certainly to consider. And there are different options there, which people can consider, and I could talk to that further if people ask me directly. But not only that, you should speak to a lawyer and present a plan. As an example to what we were talking about previously with Medicaid, in New York State, you can have some significant means and still qualify for Medicaid. I know that sounds contradictory, but it's in fact true. You can go out and get a trust, a pool trust as an example, and then you could put your assets in this trust and still qualify for home care through Medicaid program in New York. And I'll leave that as it is, but that's something else to consider. In addition to that, there are people don't appreciate how expensive home care can be, and they don't appreciate the likelihood that they're going to need home care. So I spoke about long-term care insurance, and the percentage of people who buy long-term care insurance is really very low in the country. It's less than 15%. And part of that is because people think Medicare will cover your long-term care needs. As I've just said, Medicare doesn't cover your long-term care needs. So what are you going to do? You need to plan for it yourself. Going back 30, 40, 50 years, many people have pensions through work. That's not really done anymore. The onus is on you to create an investment vehicles to protect yourself as you age. And I would strongly suggest people speak to an investment advisor to come through some of the things. You can create an annuity to give you that pension-like stream, but that has to be done with an investment advisor. And all of this is so crucial for the very good news that we're living much longer than we used to. And that's great, but it means that there's a financial burden in your retirement that's going to fall on you and your family. And nobody wants to be a burden to their kids. So there are so many things here to consider. And I have resources and partners that I know that can help people with this. But I would say, the last thing I would say, and there was an article today actually in the Wall Street Journal about this, that at 65 years ago, people were thinking, all right, 65, I'm retired. I go off and I do whatever I always dreamed of or can afford to. But the whole concept of retirement has changed because people are living longer, and because people know that their financial needs are so much greater, and because work from home and other technology allows you to continue to work in a different structure, in a different format that suits your needs. So there's really so much to go. I know I've thrown a lot at you and I've rambled a bit, but there's really so much there to consider.
That is not rambling. That is providing us with the tips and resources that we actually need to be smarter and be better, and also to plan appropriately for our future instead of burdening those who, as we transition, behind. So I appreciate that. That's not at all. So, um, this business thing, right? How you holding up in it? Barring all the craziness and leveraging resources and navigating, that's a whole nother challenge. Describe some of the things that you experience on a day-to-day.
Yeah, on a day-to-day, there are so many challenges. Working in two different states with two different regulatory regimes, and that's certainly one thing that we work through. We want to be a resource for people, and we understand that everyone's journey is different and everyone's decision matrix is different. And that's why when I spoke earlier about this idea of an assisted living, we understand that there are two sides of the coin, and most people would prefer to age at home and with home care if that's what they need. But for many others, they miss the socialization that they used to have when they stay at home. And for that reason, and some other reasons, being in assisted living is the right way to go. But there are so many different communities at so many different price points and so many different strengths and weaknesses. That's a whole nother thing to navigate, which you can't do on your own, which is why we really want to be a one-stop resource for people going through this aging process with so many questions. And it means that the direction we've gone in has altered. We understand that helping people in the assisted living mindset is also an important part of what we do, and we know that we have a lot to offer people, and we encourage people to call us or send me an email and let us know what's going on and how we can help. It may be just a few questions you have as opposed to actually needing care.
And so I want to, um, just say, uh, Ron was gracious enough to share, his information. I'm going to share this and actually read it out for those who may be listening. LeanonWe.com, Ron Gold .live, Instagram, Ron Gold, the Ronnie G, LeanonWe on LinkedIn. And those are the spaces that you can tap into, really connect. Don't be spammy. This is what I want. I already gotta say this. Don't be spammy. Respect, folks' time. If you have, real questions that can help you grow or provide insight, but don't be spammy, because I find that these days people are just, you're trying to grow and develop your business, and when you put information out, it just becomes, very weird and strange. Don't be weird to my friend, okay? Please and thank you. So, Ron, as we wrap up, right? You provided some real gems. I took some notes, just in terms of thinking through, opportunities and preparing, buying long-term healthcare insurance while you're healthy. Speak to a lawyer to help you to plan for the future. I put investment advisory team for long-term planning, financial plan, because there's so much to unpack and there's a lot that we don't know. Any additional tips as we wrap up?
Yeah, I'd say just to emphasize what you just said, there are a lot of resources out there to help you, and most people are not aware of those resources. So yes, people understand that, oh, maybe I should speak to a lawyer about getting some of these ducks in order, like a healthcare proxy and a living will and power of attorney and all these vehicles. So that's one thing. The investment piece, we talked about that. That's another important piece. But there are other resources for people in the throes of some of these questions about aging that I can help people with as well. These are not directly in my domain, but there are resources like a geriatric care manager if you have health issues to help you walk through. There are people who are daily money managers that, as people age, help them manage their daily finances. There's just there are so many different people who pop up offering different resources, none of which I knew of before I got into this world.
Hmm.
And of course, I didn't choose to be in this world, but here I am, and I understand that people have so many questions. And you can always call me. My number is 917-522.
I can't hear you, Ron. As soon as you start saying your number, it just went doop. Eh, no, I can't hear you.
So yes, 917-525-2174. And if you have any questions about the aging process and the services and the resources that are available out there, we're happy to help you.
Okay, Ron, I'm going to have you come back, primarily because you talked about a number of areas in terms of the long-term planning, living wills, having healthcare proxy available, organized, geriatric care manager. Like that's a daily money manager. Yeah, Ron, you're gonna have to come back because that
And I
that
threw that at you at the end. You didn't have a chance to respond to it either. So I'm happy to come back, Anita. Just tell me when.
Yes, please, because those are things, again, as we are exchanging information through the space of entrepreneurship and also just really understanding how to create the life that we want to see, whether we're still working for our children, etc. Um, but see, Ron dropped some gems, and that's why I say Cohort XL is the best. They're going to get me, but I'm going to continue to say that Cohort XL is the best. So, Ron, thank you so much for joining the real journey of entrepreneurship. I'm so excited to have unpacked some of these things with you. Please don't hesitate to check out LeanonWe.com for your healthcare in home, and also if you want to be remain out of the home services. So, Ron, thank you so much.
Have a great weekend, Anita.
All right, take good care. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
So there you have it, good friends. Good friends. My crew, my crew. I just want to say my crew, my crew. Cohort XL is amazing. I just wanted to just share that Lean On We is helping families every day through becoming or not being overwhelmed with home care decisions. There is information on the website, leanonwe.com. And also wanted to just have you know that these are great tips that were offered today. I hope that you were taking notes, or if you're watching the video, just take some notes, because these are really critical things. As entrepreneurs, sometimes we're just getting in the midst of really understanding, okay, we want to solve a problem, but these things came up that I want to re-emphasize the importance of thinking through, okay, especially if you're a solopreneur, or you have a crew with you that's helping you to grow and scale your business. Buy long-term healthcare insurance while you are healthy. A lot of times we think that, oh, we don't have to deal with it until we're in a position where we have to deal with it and it will cost more. Speak to a lawyer to help you to plan for the future. Have, someone that you can trust with managing your future investments. And I just want to also put out there as well, you do not have to have a whole heck of a lot of money to start this process. This is something that you should be thinking about as you are building. And a little bit goes a long way if you start while you are healthy. The other things that Ron was so gracious enough to have elevated is long-term planning, living wills, geriatric care managers. Like, who knew about that? And also really thinking about, in the event of those individuals who will help to support you with your daily money management, because those things are necessary. So Ron has to come back. So, like, share, and follow this episode and all the episodes. But, just be sure that you are thinking about, what your future business is, and also consider supporting Lean On We as one of your partners to help you long term. So, on that note, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And I will talk to you again soon. So long. This week, I'm thinking about how dope it is to be in business for myself, self employment, business ownership, entrepreneurship, all that good stuff, and why I chose to be in that space. Actually, it wasn't my choice, it was something that I was forced into. But as I'm here in this space, I really think it's dope because I am creating things that I imagine, things that I write on a piece of paper, but it also helps to create, after the number of failures, a real boost of confidence that I have the ability to take something off of a piece of paper, take something that I typed in my phone, and then create it. Your mind is your biggest flex. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375.